We're back for the second hour of the starting lineup, brought to you by our great group of sponsors, Marshfield Chevrolet, Play It Again Sports, Swing Right Golf, and Citizens Bank of Rogersville. We appreciate their sponsorship. Ned has stepped away for the second hour. It will be myself and
Art Hains.
Good morning, Arthur.
Morning, Scott.
We have new meat in town. New meat, as they used to say. And this is not a prison. It may feel like it sometimes for our new guests, but very happy to introduce to the Ozarks the new sports writer for the Springfield News-Leader, Liam Keating. Liam, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Might be the first time saying this in radio history. Breaking news. First-time listener, first-time caller.
There you go. The first and first. Art used to get a lot of long-time first times, didn't you, Art?
I did.
Yeah, and that was always a special treat. He had some long times, too. But anyway, Liam, welcome to Springfield. Are you on the job now already?
I am. So getting ready for Media Day later this morning, but I am still residing here in my former job here in Topeka, Kansas, but I moved down to the Ozarks on August 1st. So
okay.
You'll see me down there starting August 1st. That's when rent's due. So got to be down there.
Awesome. Well, tell us about your background. Where have you been and what brought you to Springfield?
So I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. So I'm a huge Creighton basketball fan, and sure, a lot of Missouri State fans won't like to hear that, but we're in different conferences now, so I think we could stay friends. Went to college down at Benedictine College, so that's Northeast Kansas. I ran cross country and track there, so I competed against Evangel on a weekly basis, and did broadcast journalism there at Benedictine and broadcast a lot of Evangel basketball games and soccer games and things like that. So weirdly connected there. And then my first job out of college was in North Kansas City. So I covered William Jewell. So I also got to see Drury in my first job. And then all of the high school sports there, you end up in the North Kansas City at playoff time. You're seeing all the Ozark guys and teams there as well. And then spent three years there in North Kansas City, and then moved over to Topeka, where stayed here for 3 years doing high school sports and covering Washburn, another Division II team. So stayed around the area and just slowly, making my way towards you guys. But I wrote my introductory column that came out yesterday that somehow Springfield has intertwined my life without me ever kind of living here. And so I'm so excited to, actually live in the great city. So and meet you all in person. So, yeah.
So, Liam, you'll be covering high schools and the Bears, similar beat to what Wyatt had here?
Indeed, yeah. So I'll take on the behemoth that Wyatt Wheeler kind of, put to waste. And so I have to, regain, all of the momentum that he once lost, when he left. It was a bad place, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah, and we often associate waste with Wyatt Wheeler as well, too. But of course, one of our good friends, and we have him on pretty regularly here just to kind of talk the K-State program that he's totally dismantled in all sports pretty much up there in his 1 year. We thought, and I guess, I was a 20-year alum of the News-Leader from 85 to 05. Art and I, we've been on shows together. We talked about it. It was a great media contingent all at once here in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. And then Wyatt kind of was the first hybrid of our type, and it took some getting used to because, in our day, there were sports writers and there were columnists, and there was no crossover. And, if I was a columnist, I was writing my opinion, and of course people would call in and yell at our sports editor and say, he's writing his opinion. And yes, exactly. That's what he's supposed to be doing. While Lyndall Scranton and others were writing the game stories. But it's a new world now. And Wyatt kind of defined that with his tenure here of trying to mix entertainment with information, with opinion to make you think, all of the above. And is that kind of the way now the new age journalism for you guys coming out? Is that kind of what you have to adapt to and be ready to hit the ground running with that?
100%. I think it was fresh out of college. Is really what I learned in college is no one reads game reports anymore. They simply don't. We can see the analytics. We can see it. I don't, when the championship games happen, you got to write one and everyone wants to read those. But, week one games, I'm going to be looking let's say Missouri State, Texas A&M. I'm going to be looking for maybe a little fun side angle to the story that will have the final score and, some of the more important stats. But to keep people entertained and keep people coming back to the site, everyone has to do something a little bit differently. And so whether that's commentary on the game, whether it's writing a story, it's no secret that reading is down in this country. It just is what it is. So when you have a chance to write and allow your readers to read, it better be interesting and it better be informative. So giving play-by-plays isn't what that is, in my opinion. So when you come to the News-Leader, that's sort of the things I'm going to write, whether it's a high school football Friday night game or a story about a high school girl overcoming an injury, or whether it's Missouri State's left tackle doing something new. Those are the things that I love writing about, and those are the things that I think people like reading about. But to be in this position, you have to be versatile and be able to go with the flow. And so if all of that style changes on the top of a hat, I am ready to go with the new edition. Like, I'll be doing a lot more video work when it comes to TikTok, Instagram, to meet younger people there, because that's where my generation really is when it comes to receiving news. So a lot of Missouri State information and stuff like that, I'll be kickstarting a TikTok, and we'll be talking about, what's happening with the Bears over there. So you just have to, be a Swiss Army knife when it comes to this job, especially like we talked about, there's only me. There's only one person there. So I got to meld all the worlds. So it makes it fun. It makes it challenging. But it's just what everyone and the readers, want to consume and read and listen to.
Well, and you have to write to the limitations of the print schedule. It used to be there was a game on Saturday, the story would be on the Sunday paper. Well, now it's not going to be there the next day, so hence everybody already knows the outcome, and they want to hear kind of the story behind the outcome.
Physical newspapers still exist, Art? It's crazy.
Yeah. It's kind of like what we did, Art, if you remember the days when I first started as a college student at the News-Leader. We had the Springfield Daily News and we had the Leader and Press, and the weekend edition was the News-Leader. But the Leader and Press was exactly what Art just said. It was not a game story. I mean, we told you what happened in the game, but it was some kind of a side angle or looking ahead type piece. And that's kind of what, I guess your job is, what does all this mean? Basically tying that all together, right?
Absolutely. I will say it's kind of fascinating because we are part of this USA Today network that owns hundreds of newspapers across the country. Me and Wyatt were in meetings when I was here in Topeka and Wyatt was still in Springfield. We were in meetings together, learning the playbook, learning how, we want to write these things and stay true. So a lot of the things that Wyatt did in Springfield, I will be also doing just with, my style of writing. So the feature stories, the 20 quarterbacks to watch when it comes to high school sports, when it comes to, the feature stories, like I said, of someone overcoming an injury, or we're looking at school board meetings with maybe there's an influx of money or cash coming into a certain athletic department. These are the stories that are forward-looking and don't really have, a necessity to be in physical print the very next day. They will still play 2 days down the line, but their immediacy online is crucial and key to having our readers, stay up to date and be in the know, while also creating conversation, because who knows, one of those stories might lead to something down the line, and immediately I can hop on to the next story and keep moving. And that's just modern journalism right now. And it's like I said, it's exhilarating to be a part of.
Liam, it sounds like you've done this in two places, but the high school coverage, it's a lot. A lot of schools, you're going to have to get up to speed pretty quickly on the area schools.
Absolutely. I emailed every coach in Southwest Missouri last week. I think we were close to 40, and I probably was missing some. And so it is going to be difficult, but every single time, every newspaper I've been to, I have never been familiar with the area that I've moved to. Being from Omaha, Nebraska, I didn't know what North Kansas City was. I had no idea what Topeka, Kansas was. I certainly don't know the ins and outs of high school sports here in Springfield. So I take that as a skill of mine of being able to adapt quickly and move with the flow. And the coaches I've emailed so far in Springfield have been really excited for our coverage coming up. And so leaning on them for story ideas, information, and then we can hit the ground running right away. And I already got a few story ideas kicking around that I'm pretty excited to write about in the next couple of weeks before the season starts.
Lean, I wanted to ask you, that there was almost a year gap there with no coverage. I mean, they had a guy trying to write from his couch down in Louisiana, and that wasn't working. I mean, that was basically just taking a release and writing a story, and it didn't fool anyone. Why did it take Gannett, USA Today, this long to fill the job? And do you feel like that hitting the ground running is what you've got to do to kind of make up for lost time and get readers back for the sports section of the News-Leader?
Sadly and thankfully, I'm not privy to that first answer. I would have loved to, be in this job, before the start of the summer or 6 months ago, because a goal of mine has always been to cover Division I sports. But when it comes to the high school sports beat, my first two jobs have entered that job with a massive gap from sports writer to sports writer. My first job was 6 months. Then the one in Topeka, they didn't have a writer for 9 months. So this almost feels normal to me, sadly. So not one opportunity has there been. I got hired and the previous sports writer was there 2 weeks ago. Sadly, that might be the norm when it comes to local journalism at this juncture. So getting up to speed and getting on the treadmill right away is a skill I've developed out of necessity almost. Partly because I like telling fun stories. I like telling interesting stories. And to do that, you have to make connections. And that is something I'm willing to go the extra mile, especially with our Ozark coaches and all the people in Southwest Missouri.
Liam, I'm sure Wyatt has and will continue to give you a lot of help as to who the coaches are, the history, and things like that.
Absolutely. Wyatt sent me a document of and both of your guys' names are on it, of like 100 people with cell phone numbers and just short comments of why they're important to the area. So I've been digging through that, sending text messages out to people, emails out to people, just introducing myself and getting my name out there. Because that's step one is I need to get people back to the News-Leader website. I need to get people to understand that there is reporting and news about to go on. I published 2 pieces from Missouri State yesterday, and the reaction of just having content out there was very welcomed. And so I hope we can keep that rolling this week and in the next couple of weeks when we start previewing high school sports. And so we get people returning back and forth to the website. And Wyatt has kickstarted that pretty well by giving me an exclusive contact list that has been super beneficial in the first, 48 hours I've been on the job.
Was the hotline to Pizza Ranch on that list? Because, Wyatt was a big fan and just wondered if he had a special phone line to order his pizzas delivered. Did you notice that on there or not?
Yeah, I went straight to the CEO, and I actually, became convinced in Pizza Ranch's, quality and expertise that, maybe I'm kicking around a sponsorship deal in the coming days.
I would say your best advice that we could give you is give Pizza Ranch love, win them back, and you may eat free for your entire time down here because that damage control is what you've got to tackle now that Wyatt did for how many years, Art? Probably the last 5 or so.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, he was not a fan.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, Liam, we appreciate an opportunity to get to know you. We'll have you on, I'm sure, several times during the year. We've got a great market to cover here. Art done it for most of our adult lives and love it here, and I think you're going to love it as well.
Thanks so much, gentlemen. Pleasure talking to you, and can't wait to keep this going.
You betcha.
You bet. Thanks, Liam.
Thanks, Liam. Liam Keating, the new sports writer at the Springfield News-Leader. Looking forward to working with him. We're going to take a time out here on the starting lineup. Be right back after this. Back with the starting lineup, Scott Puryear, joined by
Art Hains.
Yeah, Ned Reynolds has left us for the second hour today, and so We'll see Ned back tomorrow morning. Do have a special guest in studio, and I apologize. I completely forgot my days mixed up, and Guy Newcomb texted me and said, "Hey, Fred Johnson's at the front door." I'm like, "Oh, well, let's let Fred in because he is the all-time scoring leader still in Missouri high school basketball." Former Missouri State Bear Fred Johnson. Fred, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
We're doing great. Pull that mic over there, Fred. There you go. Now tell everybody good morning.
Good morning.
Perfect. Yeah, and Art, say hello to Fred Johnson.
Hey, Fred.
Good morning, Art.
Well, your name came up because we had a guest on. Kent Mueller with Missouri Milestones here a couple weeks ago. He was talking about he's done a great project with keeping track of scoring leaders all time in high school basketball, football stat leaders, things like that. And here we are, what is that, 40 years later? And Fred Johnson's still the all-time scoring leader in Missouri high school basketball with 3,552 points at Wellsville Middleton High School. Can you still believe you're number one in that whole thing?
It's hard to believe, but I guess I am.
Yeah, and this was Art before the three-pointer.
Yeah,
exactly. If you'd had a three-point shot back when you played in high school, what would that number have been?
3,552.
52?
No, I might have had another 20, 25.
Could you shoot the three?
I shot at the top of the key.
Yeah.
And
that was just the extent of the range there, right? Yeah. Well, and again, it's, you look through that, and there aren't many records still standing from the 80s, 90s, 70s, and before because of the three-point shot and things of that nature. But kind of talk about your career at Wellsville and what led you to Missouri State, back then SMS.
Well, I'm kind of lucky that I did get an opportunity to break the record because the guy that I broke his record was Bill Roundtree, which had come from my school as well and played at Mizzou. And probably 80% of his shots were beyond what would have been the three-point line. And so he would have had more points probably than I would have had. So,
Art?
Yeah, so you had that opportunity to do that, but as Scott said, what then led you to Missouri State?
Well, I went to Three Rivers Community College, and then, Coach Spoon and Coach Hill was talking to me a lot, and I ended up over here.
What other options were you looking at?
Well, right out of high school, I had Georgetown, Louisville, and I had all the big schools looking at me, and just about every one of them said that I wasn't going to play my first 2 years, and they said they'd like for me to go to a junior college. And then we settled on Three Rivers, and I got hurt. So after I got hurt, not a lot of people want you when you're, all bruised up.
How was it like playing for Gene Bess?
I wish it would have been a 4-year school, or I would have stayed there. He was the greatest coach that you ever want to work with.
What are some good Spoon stories you might be able to share with us?
Well, he had a lot of stories, but he had a way of making you get everything done right.
Yeah, and was he in his Ozarks sort of way too? Did you have trouble understanding early on in some of the Spoonisms that came out?
Well, I'm glad I wasn't the only rockhead on the team. He called a lot of people rockheads, and so I'm glad I wasn't the only one when something went wrong.
Yeah, he would kind of get on you with humor.
Yes.
Not really a yeller, but he'd make some kind of remark that would get you going.
I'm just glad Kelby got more yelling at than I did.
Yeah, he was the whipping boy.
How special were those days? Because, we look at Bears games now and, the announced crowd of about 2,000, maybe not that many in the building. And you guys during Spoon's Temple of Doom and that era, Hammons Center was rocking. It had to be some great memories for you.
Oh, it was. The bear hair got everybody fired up, and the fans, they were just phenomenal. They were just, you couldn't ask for a better crowd.
Yeah, and I yesterday at the Royals game, I was in a suite for a few innings, and this lady who was a bear hair was in there as well. I got to meet her, so that kind of interesting that you harken back to that time because the fans were into it, including the students.
My neighbor, his son used to be in the bear hair as well, so we had some stories about that.
Art, tell us what kind of player Fred Johnson was from what you saw calling the games.
Well, he was a strong player. Strength inside, could had good moves to get his shot, and just had a way to get in the basket.
Kind of probably 60, 70 pounds lighter, Big Mike?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Is that was your style of play? And
it was my style, but yeah, you're right. Mike had a little more poundage, if you want to say, on me.
Exactly. And so talk about your high school days at Wellsville, and is it Middletown or Middleton? Middletown?
Middletown.
Where is that for people who aren't familiar?
It's close to Mexico, Missouri.
Okay.
Montgomery City in that area.
And so he played a lot of teams up in that area. And what was your high game that you can remember point-wise in high school?
I had 51.
51. Wow.
And I didn't play the fourth quarter.
And did you play as a freshman in high school?
I started as a freshman.
Okay, so 4-year starter. Is that
yes.
how? That's one way you also get to 3,500 points without a three-pointer too, right?
That's right.
Yeah. What did you average as a high school senior?
32.
32 a game. Wow, Art. That's pretty good. Did you have anybody else in double figures? Did you have some help?
No, we all five of us usually were in double figures.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fred, I forget, how was your free throw shooting?
I wasn't the best, but you better not foul me at the end of the game because I didn't miss at the end. I always missed my free throws early on. I guess I was trying to find my stroke, but I was a 70% in high school.
So have you stayed around the Springfield area this whole time since you left the Bears?
I've been here the whole time. I taught at Nixa for a year, and then I worked for Jim Ferguson at Coors. And then I've been in Highland Dairy for 34 years.
34 years. What do you do at Highland?
I drive a truck for them.
Drive a truck. Awesome. I know that we just had Played Against Sports, one of our great sponsors, had an ice cream day, I guess it was last Saturday, 2 Saturdads ago, as part of one of their sales. Did you get to deliver that?
I did not.
I do that one?
I'm the milkman.
The milkman. There. Did you have you gone to Bears games very often, or?
I'm there at every home game.
Are you really?
Yes, I am.
What do you see now with what Conzo's doing with these Bears now?
Well, he's getting them in order now. This is going to take a little time with this NIL money and stuff. That it's hard to get players because a decent player somewhere else making a whole lot more money than what a player here is making this starting and playing. And so to get a good player, he's going to have to develop them, and which he's doing. So it's hard to get players.
Well, and they change so much from year to year. Last year, almost a whole new team. This year, same thing. So it's kind of hard to build continuity, but a lot of other teams are going through the same thing.
Yes, they are.
Fred, I think, and Art, correct me on this, but the courts used to be an annual summer event for all of us to go out there and get a preview of the Bears and Drury, and then the women's team started playing out there, and that was a lot of fun. Fred, I think you played in that thing forever, didn't you? When did you finally say, I'm done with this?
I don't remember, but Coach Barr was still coaching at West Plains, and I was the oldest active player playing when he was still coaching, and made the all-star team.
You had to be. Were you 40? Did you playing in your 40s out there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you look like you still could play. What do you do now to stay active? And do you play any pickup ball?
Oh, I work kids out and physically work them out myself. So that helps out a lot.
Have kids of your own?
I've had 2 kids.
2 kids?
A girl and a son.
Did they play?
My son played. He played at Willard.
Okay.
And then he ended up at Oklahoma, and then he went to West Plains and finished up at Bolivar.
And did he score 3,500 points in his high school career?
He did not.
But, well, it seems like you've had a very, very good basketball career in life, and obviously you love it around here. And if you're still going to Bears games, do you still walk in and people say, hey, there's Fred Johnson?
Some of them do.
Some of them do?
For some of the old people.
Yeah. Well,
So, Fred, you got in on a couple of NCAA trips, I guess, with Spoon.
Yes, we did. We played
Which years were those?
Seton Hall in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And it didn't turn out good on either one.
Well, it was a special time of basketball, and what will you take away from that? That if they ask you, okay, Fred, your favorite memory as a Bear, what would it be?
Well, this is the whole take on the whole thing. If I had a chance to do it all over again, I'd do it in a heartbeat. You wouldn't have to ask me twice.
Yeah.
just it's a great place. You know, a lot of players when they come here, they stay, and there's a lot of old Bears running around here in this town. So, and it says a lot for the town and the school.
Well, Fred, the Seton Hall game was a close one. Really, really could have had that one. And then the next year, North Carolina, we had their attention at halftime.
Yeah, but something happened at their halftime that didn't happen in ours. They come out with the fire in them. We come out with fire, but there's a different kind of fire.
Well, how long are we going to do the Highland Dairy thing? Or, I mean, that 35 years, are we getting close to calling it quits?
I'm going to go till I'm 62.
62?
You know, I'm going to go 3 more years.
And then enjoy. Do you have other hobbies? What do you do now when you're not delivering?
You know, train kids. You know, that's probably what I end up doing, the little private lessons.
And when you do that, do you find kids different now? You know, we hear a lot of coaches say they're different than they were 10 or 15 years ago. Do you see that in the kids you train?
Well, the kids now, they don't like being touched. I mean, you push and bang them, they fall down. I'm like, wait a minute, dude, stand up.
That's soccer. We watched that in the World Cup. Yeah, that's different. Yeah, but attitude-wise, are they still willing to learn and want to learn?
Some kids are willing, yes. That's a good thing that they're all wanting to be there. I like the ones that want to be there and work hard.
Very good. And you can teach them how to score 3,500 points and be a record holder 40 years later, right?
Well, you got to have the right situation, the right coach, and the right kid.
Yeah, and I think, Art, this should be like the Miami Dolphins deal, shouldn't it? After every season that stands another year, they pop open some champagne or do something there, like the unbeaten.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know if Fred has that ritual or not, but it'd be worth thinking about.
Well, being that I don't drink, we have to get some grape juice or
grape
something
juice,
like that.
or Highland Dairy product, right?
Get a Highland Dairy chocolate milk. I'll go for that every day.
Is there a better chocolate milk in America?
There is not.
No. It's almost like you guys say, okay, this is almost a milkshake. We're going to put it in a container here and sell it.
It's the best thing that I think we sell.
Very good. Well, Fred, we appreciate you popping in, and again, thanks, and let's do it again sometime. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You betcha. Fred Johnson, the former Missouri State basketball player, still the all-time record holder in scoring in the state of Missouri. We appreciate Fred coming by. We're going to take a break, visit with T-Bear and some auto racing here coming up on the other side. Back with the starting lineup, I'm Scott Puryear, joined by
Art Hains.
Ned Reynolds has had to leave the show for this morning, be back with us tomorrow morning. Of course, the starting
Ned Reynolds has left the building.
Ned Reynolds has left the building. The starting lineup brought to you each morning by our great foursome of sponsors there, Marshfield Chevy, Citizens Bank of Rogersville, Swing Right Golf, and Play It Again Sports. We appreciate all of them for letting us do what we do each morning. And Art, Fred Johnson, for that record to stand 40 years later, shows you just how many points a guy scored without a three-pointer. That's pretty phenomenal. You would have to be a 4-year starter to pull that off.
You would, but average a lot of points, as he said, 32 his senior year.
Yeah.
But that is amazing, and surely somebody will approach that record with a three-point shot, but they haven't.
They haven't, and it got me to thinking also about the new 5 to play 5 records for college.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's going to completely make a sports information director have a headache, and unless kids just simply don't stay at a place 5 years to be a career scoring leader.
Well, and a lot won't.
Yeah,
but now that you got 5 for 5, there might be a kind of red shirt year that wouldn't count. It's rare for a guy to start for 5 years. Let's put it that way.
It is. And you look at like a Missouri State, if a guy does that well the first 2 or 3 years, somebody's probably paying him to come to their place for the next 2, and
right.
paying something that the Bears can't match. But Art did get to catch most of the Royals game last night. Watched that one. That they blew it and then reclaimed it. A nice bunt there by Lofton to squeeze bunt to score the game winner.
Yeah, and a bunt earlier in the inning by Tolbert that was misplayed by the Padres.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a small ball. Started off with a legitimate base hit by Josh Rojas, and they small balled it from there. I mean, the game was just like Friday night when Alex Lang is out there, gets first 2 outs, gives up a home run. And it happened again, and but they overcame it, as they did on Friday.
And the announcers, here we go again. Same thing.
Yeah.
If everybody's available back from the IL, who should be the closer the rest of the season for the Royals?
Well, I mean, I don't know if Estevez is coming back at all. It would be him, but I mean, John Schreiber really is the guy that's pitching the best. They've usually used him in like seventh inning situations, but you know, it's rare air when you pitch the ninth. Not everybody can do it, but everybody they put out there this year has failed. I mean, Lang had been 8 for 8 before these last two meltdowns. So, I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm worried about putting him out there and protecting a close lead. I just don't know.
Yeah, and of course, Salvi moves within 1 home run of George Brett for the all-time franchise leader for the Royals. Two of the pillars of the history of that program. It'd be kind of nice if they could just stop and stay tied, you know, at 317. But that's not going to be the case.
No, it's not. But I mean, everybody knows George is the GOAT in so many ways for the Royals. But yeah, Salvi's going to get that record, and happy for him. I mean, he's been a warrior for him for 12 years now.
He has. And of course, Ned and I talked in the first hour about the happy hour last night out at the Alamo Draft House, Chiefs happy hour with Mitch and Danon. What did you take away from some of the Q&A that those guys provided in terms of information?
Well, very in-depth, as they always are. You know, good talk honestly, about Rashee Rice and how he needs to remain focused. I thought it was great. Mitch was saying at the luncheon they had for rookies when he had been drafted, he sat across from Rice and thought, this is the nicest, most well-spoken, polite young man I've ever met. But, you know, he gets around his friends. I'm not going to blame it on friends necessarily. You have free will as a human being, and he has made a lot of bad choices which need to stop. But said that he was interested in saying that Rice needs to not be schemed into a catch. Mm-hmm. He needs to fight for the ball and make a difficult catch more. So that was interesting. And also what he said about Taylor and Travis. I thought he'd say, oh, that's no distraction at all. But he didn't really. And he said Andy Reid, above all else, wants no distractions. And, I mean, what are you going to do? You get caught up in it. He's your guy. He's been your player. He's marrying the most popular singer in the world. But that there is a potential, not really in him, said he wouldn't still be playing were it not for the camaraderie of the locker room. That he loves the game, but he loves being around the guys in the locker room. But the ancillary stuff that goes with Taylor Swift from the outside is a potential distraction.
I had to leave a little bit early. Did they address Patrick and his recovery? I mean, do they feel like he'll be the same Patrick Mahomes from day one of the regular season?
Said that, you know, he's when they played Tampa Bay and lost in the Super Bowl 2020 season, that later on Danon was at some event with Ndamukong Suh, and he said we wanted Pat to scramble where we wanted him to scramble, to kind of cut off one side of the field, and that Patrick needs to have more discipline as far as the play goes, that play may be supposed to go to the right and he immediately goes to the left, and then he just starts improvising, and that's been his strength, but that maybe a little more consistency from him would be appropriate too.
We talked in the first hour about Danon and back to the Rashee Rice, and you know, I thought it was very interesting. Danon saying, you know, as a father of 5, I believe, and several grandkids, somebody needs to sit down with him like a dad, yeah, and ask him basically, "Are you done?" You know, and because you know, the future is right there in his fingertips. You know, depending on how he wants to approach it, and he can make a lot of money the next 10 years and being the guy, because Patrick's not going anywhere. He could be Mahomes' guy until contract time again, but he's going to have to fly right. And I don't, you know, we talked a little bit about Xavier Worthy. I think it was kind of a lost year for him because, you know, the injury early on when he and Kelsey collided, and he just didn't really seem like he got in a flow or rhythm consistently for the rest of the year. Is he a guy you think that is clearly a better number 2 to a Rice in that regard?
No, I mean, I think he's your number 1.
Worthy?
Yeah, Worthy.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, with his speed and length, and yeah, he's not limited really, and I think healthy now this year. That was a big deal last year when they collided shoulders on the first game of the season in Brazil, and he really wasn't right. And Mitch also said that they've had some guys postpone surgeries for the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That now Danon said 6 and 11 was needed. They end the season a month early or 6 weeks. They can get these medical issues cleared up, and so it was said if you go 9 and 8 and just barely miss the playoffs, you think, oh well, we're close, just a play here, a play there. But no, they weren't close, 6 and 11, and they needed to kind of step back a little bit and get some things taken care of.
Both Mitch and Dana were emphatic that bringing back Eric Bieniemy and then the new wide receivers coach really will kind of shore things up in terms of discipline and effort and things like that. I thought that was interesting as well.
Mitch said such Chad O'Shea is the new receivers coach, said he was the biggest addition of the offseason. So he's comes very highly regarded. And Bieniemy, he's going to get up in your face. And Danon said that you don't want to be the guy on Monday morning that incurs the wrath of Bieniemy from the day before in the film session. So, I think that was maybe lacking the last couple of years.
And I thought it was intriguing how high Mitch is on the running back room beyond Kenneth Walker III. That he's going to be the bell cow and the guy that's going to get most of the headlines. But Mitch really likes RBs 2, 3, and 4 behind him.
Yeah, the guy they got from the Cardinals. And then Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. I loved him in college. And then still Brashard Smith. Yeah. So he thinks they'll keep all 4 and there'll be roles for all 4.
Was that DeMarcado, I think, from the Cardinals? Yeah, the guy that I think he pointed out that he broke more 40-yard-plus runs last season than the Chiefs have had since 2022, I believe, was the stat there. And a guy that, Arizona's had all kinds of problems keeping running backs healthy. He was always in the mix there and performed when he did. So, and I think, and had I been able to stay for the whole thing, I wanted to ask possibly about Justin Fields. And, when you got an Andy Reid that's a schemer, and loves trick plays and formations you don't ever see, what they can do with Justin Fields, because that's a guy that with his legs is another running back that can basically throw the ball as well.
Yeah, I didn't really get into that very much. That would have been a question that could have been asked. But, yeah, Mitch has said before that he thinks they'll find creative ways to use Justin Fields.
Absolutely. Well, T-Bear, I think, is ready to join us now. We're going to take a break real quick, get him teed up, and come back and talk some auto racing right after this. Back for the final segment of the starting lineup, brought to you by our great sponsors, Marshfield Chevrolet, Swing Right Golf, Play It Again Sports, and Citizens Bank of Rogersville. Where other banks have branches, they have roots. Brian loves it when I read it that way for their sponsorship. I'm Scott Puryear, joined by
Art Hains.
And we found him. Our good buddy T-Bear, Trenton Berry, is alive and with us. T-Bear, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Apologies, boys, but I'm here.
Yeah, six consecutive one-night racing programs on the road last week has caught up to Trenton Berry.
He's the king of one-night stands.
He is. He's the one-night stand man, Trenton Berry.
Man, guys, it's I've been through it the last few days. We had 6 of them. They were in 3 states, and I'm not even going to lie to these great listeners or to you guys. I was asleep. I was sawing logs.
Well, we're glad you caught up a little bit. We're kind of short on time today with our segment, but last weekend, the historic race in Carolina, Joey Logano, I believe, won his first race of the year, correct?
Yes, he did, and he hadn't been any good this whole season, so I was kind of surprised.
What happens in that case when a guy that's not been very good all of a sudden finds that magic elixir? Is it the car just in the track or a combination? What do you see?
Well, so one of his, and I didn't hear this. I got to listen to a little bit of the post-race show afterwards, and they don't get to test a lot in NASCAR anymore, but Logano's team, they were able to test twice over the off season at North Wilkesboro, and Obviously, that had to pay some sort of dividends, especially because they don't get to do a lot of that anymore. They all take their time on the sim. Other than that, they just nail the setup. Things go their way. I mean, he started 11th, so he had to go past some cars. It wasn't like it was a gimme where he was up front all day. And obviously, there were some other cars that unloaded with a little more speed than he did too. So it just kind of worked out. One of the other things too, that's back-to-back wins for Ford this last 2 weeks, and that hasn't happened in a while for them. I think overall you could say they had been down pretty much a lot of this season. Ryan Blaney had been pretty good, but they didn't really have any other sort of running mate with them that was really doing that well. Some of the Keselowski, the Roush Keselowski cars were pretty consistent, but they hadn't been running right up front in contention to win. So I was kind of surprised that Joey had been off this year because he's one of the good ones. I mean, he's used to going neck and neck with Blaney. We've talked about Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, or Denny Hamlin, some of those guys, and he just hadn't had that speed this year. So he got it right Sunday for sure.
So where did your travels take you to those 6 racetracks?
Oh my gosh! So I started at the Winneshiek County Fair in Decorah, Iowa last Tuesday, and I spent 2 days in South Dakota. We were in Jefferson, South Dakota, Watertown, South Dakota. I went to Princeton, Minnesota. I went to Ogilvie, Minnesota, and I went to Sauk Rapids, which is just outside of St. Cloud's, where I finished up Sunday night. To the Lakeville, Minnesota Holiday Inn, and 550 miles in my pickup yesterday, and I got home about 6 o'clock, 6:30 last night, and man, it was hot for all those shows. And ideally, this time of year, you want to go to Iowa and be in Iowa and Minnesota. They don't have the humidity that we have here. Like today and yesterday when I got home, the air is so heavy that, you just step out your front door of your house and you just like hit you because it's so heavy. They don't deal with that kind of humidity, and they don't have the heavy air. But man, it was hot. It was mid to upper 90s for 3 of those shows, lower 90s for a couple more of them, and we only had one show that was in the 80s. So, man, I was just really proud of our crew. We're full setup and teardowns every single day, and of course, you start about 2 o'clock in the hottest part of the day with your work day, and I just really appreciate it for all their work.
T-Bear, Brickyard 400 this week, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Are we back to the big ticket races now, where the viewership's gonna spike a little bit more now?
Man, I think it'll be pretty good here. The Brickyard's one of the big ones. You talk about kind of like the Bristol Night Race, Daytona, the Coke 600, Indy. Yeah, that's one of the major ones. 400 miles there. They're gonna run 160 laps. It's 2.5 miles, but it's set up like a square, so they don't draft at that one. Like Daytona and Talladega, even though the track's the same size, the way it's laid out doesn't allow it to carry as much speed. But I think anytime you get to have anything at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's definitely noteworthy, and it's been a main event on the NASCAR schedule for years and years. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This is the last one that's going to be on TNT as well. That's going to cap their portion of the schedule. I think they've done a good job with their part of it. I'm still an Amazon Prime fan first and foremost. I think they do the best job. But after that, 2 weeks out, they're going to Iowa Speedway, just outside of Des Moines, and USA and NBC start their part of the contract for the television rights. So, and we're getting close to the chase. One of the big things with Logano's win, I don't want to sell this short either. This put him above that cut line where he had been kind of flirting with it all year. So he's in as a race right now. So he has, if he can carry some of that speed over this next handful of races, he'll be in good shape come the chase time. So, yep.
Art?
Trenton, for your races, I guess you don't call it play-by-play, but do you have the same lead announcer for each race?
Man, we don't. So I actually had to do Thursday night's race in Watertown, South Dakota, because we had a gentleman, he was a former editor of Hawkeye Racing News, which was a motorsports trade publication for years. A gentleman by the name of Jeff Brogue. He did all of our races except for Thursday night. He couldn't make the Thursday night race, so I stepped in and filled in Thursday. And I don't do that just a ton, but I'm probably the lead on I don't know, 10, 15 races a year, something like that. And other than that, I usually go work the infield. And so that was what I did. But yeah, we do. And then there's I got a kid out in western Kansas. I think he's one of the great young up and comers. Kid by the name of Tanner Schmidt that comes and does a handful of races for us. And so it just kind of depends on who's available. I've thrown a few offers out here and there. Obviously, I guess maybe the offers aren't quite good enough to get one of them locked down full time. But I'm privileged to work with any given season. We probably have four or five different guys that we work with, depending on where we're at.
So you send out offers they can refuse.
Yeah. Hey, let me make you an offer you can refuse. Evidently, I don't know. So it's. Hey, and you guys know that, Art, you know this especially from your time traveling on the road. Like, it's one thing when somebody says, "Hey, I want to do this." Like, so in our world, it's, "Hey, I want to go to the races." I'm like, "Okay, but do you really want to go to the races?" Like, I call it the "it must be nice" police. I get a lot of the "it must be nice" police out there that, boy, what you do, that must be nice. I'm like, yeah, but let me tell you, it's got some stuff that really sucks about it too. And one of those is the last 6 days away from my wife and my little boy, and I don't love that. And so when you up the ante and raise the stakes to where it becomes real work and a job, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, it flames a lot of them out, and it's a good way to separate the real ones from the pretenders that just want to go and have some fun on a Friday and Saturday night. So I've had a lot to tell me they want to do it. I've had very few that can stay the course. There have been a few. And every one of these guys that's in our circle now can stay the course. It's just they are tied up with other responsibilities in life as well.
Well, T-Bear, we appreciate it. We're going to get you a better alarm clock because you are the Carter Jensen of sports media now. And next time we'll have Champ on next time if we have to. So go get some sleep and get ready, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday, okay?
Hey, thanks for not kicking me off. Appreciate you guys.
Betcha. We'll talk soon. Thanks, T-Bear.
Thanks,
bye.
Yeah. Trenton Berry, racingdirt.com, always does a great job wrapping up the auto racing scene. And that's going to do it for today's show. So for Ned Reynolds, who'll be back with us tomorrow, I am Scott Puryear, and you are
Art Hains.
And you've been listening to The Starting Lineup. We'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.